All right, thank you very much. I'd have wished Dr. Tony Otinjesi was around to respond to the question because he had talked about the structural nature of the economy and the fact that even if it's corrected, and I'm sure he was talking about value addition, it will take a while longer for us to get to the European market because of the trade agreements and all that do not favor us. But I'm wondering, Africa is home to about 60% of the world's uncultivated arable land. And there's so much opportunity for us to produce and to feed ourselves. If you look at our import bill, for instance, it's about $2.4 billion. That's annually alone, importing sorghum, importing rice, importing sugar, poultry and poultry products. While we wait for these trade agreements, and I mean, you know about the Economic Partnership Agreement, for instance, and how it was difficult for us to even negotiate on the side of Africa. While we wait for trade agreements to favor Africa, which might take a lifetime, can't we produce to feed ourselves? Sugar and all that. Now, my second point, you see, it appears politicians like to play a lot of politics, even with economic issues. I remember today, I guess the agreement amongst everybody is that it's a structural problem, so let's not blame it on mismanagement by any government. Dr. Bawumia, when he was given a series of lectures, sought to draw, and the former Bank of Ghana governor, I think you could address this question for me. He sought to draw a discrepancy between the inflation and the exchange rate. And he said that the theoretical underpinning of the relationship between inflation and the exchange rate is in the relative purchasing power parity. And he said that through the purchasing power parity, the inflation, the rate of inflation must be equal to that of the exchange rate differential. But what we see today, inflation and exchange rates are inversely, related.
Okay.
How do you address that question? Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, Pakwesi Asare. We'll get to the president of the Association of Forest Bureau, and then we get to you. So we'll go there before we come to yes.
Forest, we are one of the most important people in that space. Two people there said, and I agree with them, that putting money into the market wherever there is depreciation of the city is wasteful. Mr. Ken Thompson said it very loudly, and I agree with him. This process has been going on over the years, and it doesn't change anything at all. Now, we know that you have short-term, medium-term, and long-term way of addressing this depreciation problem. Now, at the beginning of every year, we know that because we are always going out there and asking for FDI, people who come here will repatriate their monies anyway, because the dollars they bring doesn't belong to us. So at the beginning of the year, we will have this problem. And we talk so much about it as if, when it happens, the world is coming to an end. It's been going on over the years, and it will continue to do that until we change the structure of our economy. Now, in the medium term, the short term is what has been done. But trust me, in the next 5-6 months, it's like putting the money into a basket. It will just, the MTS and so on will just come and take the money all away. Now, what are they doing to change the structure of the economy? If you are not producing what we eat, $300 million just to bring in rice. $300 million. As the last, I'm sure it's might be more. About 150 million for sugar. For Christ's sake, this is an agricultural country, so let's do something about it. That is the only way that we stop this dollarization matter. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Yes,
Yeah.
Mr. Benjamin Yeboah.
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Briefly.
Yeah, briefly. Mine is also a contribution.
Okay.
Well, I would just pick from one of the speakers. He talked of the media being the fourth realm of the state. And I think the media should do more for we, the traders, in the sense that as traders, we were not born to import. It's just that there's actually no other better alternative. That is why we are importing anyway. In the sense that the governments they make pronouncements about what they will do. This government came and they said one of their flagship program is 1D, 1F. My point is that what is really going on there, because the politician will talk, but it's for the media to really find out and see if they are really doing so. My checks from their secretariat at cantonments was that truly there are about 79 factories at various points of completion. The media should help us, we the traders, and find out if truly it is so, and where are they cited? They are saying 9 regions. Is it true that they are in 9 regions, and what are they coming to produce? Is it going to help us, we the traders, to buy from them, so that then we can start projecting, and then we'll know where we're going to buy our produce if we are not going to import them. I think it's important for the media to help us with this. I don't know if we are aware that there are toothpicks made in Ghana. We always hear that toothpicks are imported, but there are toothpicks made in Ghana. There's a company that has been around since 2014 that produced toothpicks. And just 2017, they got some incentive to really move up. We want the media to help us. Lastly is the Forex. I don't know if we talk of black market, they are really part of Forex. Because if we should have all these what we term as Gao people sitting everywhere, and they are changing money anywhere, and they are changing huge sums of money. And if we are not checking, I don't know what Bank of Ghana will be saying they are putting regulations with Forex. If these people are everywhere, and they are in clear view of everyone, what are the security people doing, and then what will be happy to do with the Forex? I don't see what we are doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I realize there are many of you who would want to contribute. We certainly will give you a chance to speak, but before we do so, we would get our main speakers to respond to the first batch of questions. The conversation would continue, don't worry. Everybody would be heard, even if we are off TV, everybody would be heard. So, Mr. Kwame Pienim, if you'd want to respond to any of the questions, please.
I think that I hope we didn't give the wrong impression. The management, Bank of Ghana's management of the cedi depreciation is different from taking in money to shore up the cedi. That is not the normal shoring up of normalizing. We know that the foreign exchange for Ghana, cocoa, comes seasonal. And therefore, Bank of Ghana will take the opportunity either to borrow or use their reserves to normalize. And therefore, Bank of Ghana has a place. It's not a question of let the cedi fall. That's not the issue. The cedi will have to be managed. There are certain times that you manage the cedi. We are talking about a farm plain, everything is there. Agriculture, go and do it. It's not a politician who farms. There's nothing wrong with the chief of executive of Maslock going into farming. He can do farming. Yes, so why are you blaming the politician? You say you are doing. What we need is the support. It's not easy to produce sugar here. The person who is going to produce sugar in Ghana for 30 million people would need to be assured that we will stop importation and give them a certain price because he cannot compete. All sugar is subsidized. Where is it coming from? So when we see that things are difficult, we need policy support to get people into the areas. The price is just it's a signal, the direction that we should be moving. And we as Ghanaians, we have to move and act and then make sure that we get the support of the people. So that point about the sugar is more difficult. If you try to do any farming, I mean fish farming, aquaculture, it's not easy. The roads are difficult to get to. So we need infrastructure. That's where using some of the money for infrastructure is also important. And you try to go and supply any of these people. They pass you through their agent who would like to buy your tilapia at 10, 11 cedis, so that they can go and sell it at about 20, 15 cedis a kilo. And if you don't go through that person, they are not letting you in. So we have to stop implementation being blocked by personal interest. This discussion is good because it's showing us where we need to be going. And I'm serious when I say that we should not politicize this. The fact that the vice president waved into it is not that it's good. It is not good. And it's time we stopped. It should not be partisan. The PURC is one of the few independent institutions. They were set up to fix electricity price. Let them fix it. Don't let us blame the government when they fix the price. That's the point I'm making. We should stop. We are now maturing as politicians. We've had 3 alternate government changes. We know that not fixing electricity tariff has brought in a lot of things. The timing bomb that is taken now is the take or pay generation plan that we have. The LNG that is sitting out there, which does not allow us to use our local produced gas. The ENI take or pay, which is more expensive than the associated gas that people can sell to us. These are the issues where, and if we don't fix the expenditure controls and the bad contracts, we will not get the money to do the infrastructure to support the transformation of the economy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kwame Pianim. So I'll go to Mr. Asidimanti. You can just sit there and respond to the questions.
Let me start with my friend Pakwesi. You raised 2 issues. What Bamia said and what did he say? I'm not his spokesman, so how would they want? But you recall that in my presentation I talked about Afram Plains, all right? And I had earlier said that the determination of the exchange rate is done by the forces of market forces, supply and demand. So if we import in heavily, as the figures that I showed on, on the screen, we can cut down those imports by producing some of the local things that we eat, and that's how come I gave the Afram Plains example. At least the food we eat, we can grow that. If we're able to do that, feed ourselves, then we'll not be spending foreign currency to import. And that will reduce the burden, all right, on our demand for foreign exchange. Then you talked about economic fundamentals and exchange rate. I think what Bawumia said was that if your fundamentals are not right, it will reflect in the exchange rate or something to that effect, all right? And in my presentation, I talked about macroeconomic instability, right? This country is notorious for overspending when we are in the election year. Every government will tell you you're not going to spend. But come election year, you see how much money they spend over and above what they're able to mobilize by way of resources. And all that over expenditure is inflationary, all right? So when you overspend, then your inflation levels go up, your current account deficits go up, and that also will impact on your exchange rate because you have too many cedis in the system and very little foreign currency. And therefore, by common sense, you need to spend more of the cedis to be able to get $1. And then there was a question about monetary policy rate. I think Mr. Amwa mentioned that. Look, I've been a member of the Monetary Policy Committee for 5 years. Most people see the governor every other month, I think. Yeah, we do it every other month. You see the governor facing the camera and announcing a policy rate, and you think that's the end of the story. Look, there's a lot of work that goes on for 5 days. 5 days. The staff, we have a special department there They compile reports on the real sector, the financial sector, everything that affects the city. And these reports, we go over them for 5 days. And on the basis of the findings in those reports, then we decide whether the rate should go up or it should go down. So it's not done arbitrarily, all right? A lot of thinking goes into it. And sometimes you get the, comments that suggest that, and the policy rate it gives an indication as to where inflation will be heading to, right? So if the Bank of Ghana raises the policy rate, then you should expect inflation, because it means the inflationary pressures are in the economy. You should expect the inflation rate to go up. Similarly, if it goes down, if it's reduced, then it means we should be expecting a more, what is the word, benign system. In other words, inflation is being tamed. So these are the three questions that relate to what I said.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Asiedu-Mantey. We'll get to Ken Thompson. Yes, Ken, if you have a response to any of the questions.
Yeah. Yes. The price of the cedi is a supply and demand issue. That's economics 101, supply and demand. Let the cedi reflect its true value, so it will provide us the opportunity to make the right investment decisions. What kills business is not cedi depreciation, it's cedi volatility that kills you. Let it reflect the situation, what it is, and we'll take decisions, because we are from a private sector. Also, let's not be confused about one thing. To change this economy, it will be painful. Of course there's going to be pain. There has to be pain. Old industries will collapse, current industries will collapse, and new ones will come up. But if we don't do that, every day we delay it is going to become more painful, and we don't do that, one day we'll become hungry, because our trading partners will be upset with us and they'll give us no food. And the silver bullet is agric. Make it sexy. It's as simple as that. Economics 101. There's no other way. Supply and demand. Change will be painful. Fundamental. What are we running away from? And Ghanaians don't like akukufun, I can assure you. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Yes.
Just make one little comment.
Briefly, yes.
I remember as a young man, having joined the Bank of Ghana those days, one of the things that an assignment given me by my boss was a report compiled by a German consultant. And he had been commissioned by the Ghana government then, this is in the early 70s, to do a study on how to tap water from the, I think, pond to irrigate the Accra Plains. And the report was such that we were going to tap water from the pond through canals to irrigate the whole of Accra Plains. And if we were able to do that, we could crop rice 3 times in a year and maize twice in a year. I reviewed that report, and end of the story. We didn't have money. That was the response from the then government. We didn't have money. If Nkrumah had said we didn't have money, Akosombo would not be there. All right? We borrow for other things, but when we need to borrow to change the structure of the economy, we are feet dragging.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Emmanuel Asiedu-Mantey, former First Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana. Thank you also, Mr. Kwame Pienim, and thank you, Mr. Ken Thompson. I'll take those comments you made as your closing remarks,